Okay, today we're going to do a recipe on honey butter dinner rolls using our Breadman bread machine to make the dough for us. And then once it makes our dough and lets it rise once, then we just have to form the balls and bake them in the oven. And it's a lot easier this way and a lot quicker. Okay, we need 1 packet of yeast, 3½ cups of bread flour, a teaspoon of salt, 2 eggs, which I'll slightly beat those before we put them in. Like warm water, nothing above about 110 degrees because it could kill your yeast, but you really don't want to go below 100 or 105 really because it won't activate it. 1/3 cup of oil and 2 tablespoons of honey. Before you put your oil in, dip your measuring spoon for your honey into the oil and let it run off. Maybe wipe it with a paper towel or something, and it will make the honey come right out of the spoon without any problems. Okay, so we have all of our wet ingredients in the bread maker first. Water, eggs, oil, honey. Now we'll put in our dry ingredients except the yeast. The yeast will always go last. Okay, so I've added our dry ingredients. That's the 3½ cups bread flour, a teaspoon of salt. I mixed the two of them together before I put them in the bread pan. You don't have to, I just did it because it was already out. And then on top you see our 1 packet of yeast. And now we're going to set the bread maker to do all of the kneading and rising and all of that sticky gooey stuff that we don't want to have to fool with today. Okay, so on this bread machine we're going to press select until we get to number 10, which is our dough cycle. And then we're going to push start, and in an hour and a half our dough will be ready. We'll make balls, put them in a 9x13 pan, and we will bake them in the oven. Okay, our dough has been mixed, kneaded, and has risen. The timer just beeped. Let's take a peek. Let's see. Ooh. That is pretty awesome for literally dumping the ingredients in there and pushing a few buttons, and I didn't even have to get my hands dirty. So next, we're going to push the dough down, and we're going to make little balls and put them in our 13x9 pan, and we're going to bake them in the oven. Okay, so with clean hands, we're going to just push our dough down, let it collapse on us. I've gotten a 13x9 non-stick baking pan. I did spray it with a little spray just in case, just because you don't want your yummy little dough balls to stick. I'm going to smear it around again with very clean hands, but this will grease my hands to work with the dough. It's a little sticky, that's okay, but you're just going to take off little pieces. Does not have to be perfect. And you're going to make just little dough balls and place them in your pan. I like them random sizes so that, you know, the littler kids can have one for a snack. Bigger people can have one to make a sandwich with. However you want to do your sizes, you'll just have to watch them in the oven. You may have to take a few out before the others are ready. It's really not a big deal to have to do that. It is a sticky dough. I probably should have had more oil on my hands. Okay, so I'm just going to get these worked out. I'm probably going to wash my hands and put a little more oil on them so they're not quite so sticky. And then I'll come back and show you before we put them in the oven. Okay, here's our end result of the bread. I decided to make, I just made like 6 rolls, and I wanted to try out making it in a loaf. Obviously it's kind of a small loaf because I didn't use the entire dough, but it actually came out really good in the loaf. Lily says we need to try making it in a Pullman pan so that she can use it for sandwiches. So that'll be a great idea to try, but it's definitely a recipe to try. When it came out of the oven and it was hot, I rubbed just some plain butter on top of it to give it kind of that nice shine, and it adds great taste. But it's really, really good. I definitely recommend you give it a try. And and I baked it at 350 just until it started to kind of have this golden brown color to it. You don't want to go too dark with this because it is a sweet bread and it will brown really quickly. But it was just perfect on the inside. I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope you get a chance to make this recipe.